Hey everybody, it's me, Brother Wild Bill, coming to you from inside the most dangerous prison in the Western Hemisphere, where I am an inmate as well as prison's chaplain. I'm serving a 46-year sentence. I was a hitman on the outside, contract killer, freelance contract killer, and I'm, in the can now. So anyway, I wrote some stuff here. I always say that shit before we get started, just so anybody new will know what's going on here. I started writing a new series, and so I thought I'd read it for you today as like an audio story. The story's called Reaper, and this is the first installment. Reaper number one. Reaper stifled a yawn. He stopped swatting at the biting gnats that blew in from the mangroves just below where he was concealed. Being sniper was not his favorite game. A trickle of sweat ran down his Roman nose. Hot wasn't an adjective strong enough for the Costa Rican island. Fetid, dank air so thick you could almost cut it with a knife, slowly entered and exited his lungs. His lips pulled on a tube located at the side of his mouth, which ran to a bottle on the ground beside him. He waited. It wasn't that Reaper was terrible with a rifle. It was just the incessant waiting that made him hate sniping so much. He preferred action and close kills, not hours and hours, or as in this case, days and days of inactivity. Banishing the voice in his mind that questioned whether his target would ever show, he decided to go full Zen. To clear his mind and just observe was a tall order in the heat, with hungry insects feasting on his body. He slowed his heart rate and waited. His blind was a mere 200 meters from where the target should sooner or later appear. With an oceanfront island mansion as the setting of the hit, Reaper was bundled in the edge of a growth of low bushes that was shaded by an enormous mango tree. His cover was beyond excellent, even if the visibility would be poor. It was not an even, or it was an even or possibly uphill shot, not the ideal. 3 days before, Reaper had witnessed the mark arrive home. A boat access only property, no one except the marked servants had arrived or departed. How could a popular politician stay hidden? He cursed the soon to be croaked silently. The mark was an elected Costa Rican National Assembly member with no visible security detail. The cartel wanted him to no longer exist. The why was irrelevant. Reaper asked no questions of his employers and preferred no explanations. He was just a weapon, only doing his job. That's how he saw it anyway. An hour more and he witnessed some movement that raised his hopes. Several servants were loading a boat with suitcases. A captain appeared from the small dockhouse adjacent to the large cement dock and began warming the engines of the transport boat. This had to mean that Raul David Orozco, 40-year-old politician, was about to depart. Through the scope of his rifle, Reaper watched everything calmly. The mark finally appeared. In a white sport coat and matching trousers, a short, balding man who could only be Orozco emerged from the enormous double doors out onto the porch. He munched on hors d'oeuvres or some finger food, unknowing that these moments were his last. Reaper didn't like the shot not one bit. It was uphill and at a strange angle, but he was afraid to wait until the mark began his descent down the sidewalk towards the water because someone else might get in the way, or he might even miss while shooting at a moving target. The long game was a semi-weakness for him. He was honest with himself, always knowing that his own faults and strengths as a good hitter should. Reaper blew out half the breath in his lungs. He located the crosshairs in the very center of Orozco's suit coat. It was a shot from behind the mark. He squeezed confidently, and the suppressed 7mm jumped in his hands, making a noise no louder than a cough. The shot drove home. The mark fell dead on the porch of the island paradise home. No twitching, no screaming, no writhing, just dead. A 7mm bullet destroyed Orozco's heart. As far as kills go, it was as clean as they come. The servants were yet to even notice. Their employer lay limp, sprawling in an ever-growing puddle on the wooden decking. Reaper immediately went to work. In 15 seconds, his entire equipment was neatly stacked inside an olive drab backpack and donned. He crawled, or rather slithered, on his stomach, out from under the bushes down to the water's edge, careful not to step on the limbs of the mangroves into the stinking black mud from which they sprouted, he made his way lithely to an inflatable dinghy stowed at the waterline behind some foliage. As he scooted across the clear blue bay, mounted on the inflatable, he tossed the 7mm rifle piece by piece into the sea. At $300,000, this hit paid enough to scramble all his equipment. He had used the silenced rifle on 3 jobs prior and would just pick up a new one before the next job. Hopefully, there would be no more jobs requiring a rifle of this sort. He detested sniping. His thoughts drifted automatically to her and the vacation they would now take together. His body was hungry for her. Quickly, though, he brought his thoughts back. As the mainland approached, there would be time enough for pleasure later. I hope you enjoyed this story. It's the first installment. I have no idea where it's going. So in my free time, I'll write it and record it here anyway. So this is the first one, and I hope you guys liked it. Like, subscribe, and comment here below. There's a bunch of links below. If you want to talk to me, you can talk to me directly through various different ways of contacting me through like social media and stuff. And so this is a Wild Bill original. Hope you enjoyed it. God bless each and every one of you.